Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction. Hey folks, this is Vince with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to look at Gravwell. This game is for 1 to 4 players for ages 15 and up, with the average playtime being between 20 and 35 minutes. But honestly, I don't agree with the box. It's way too conservative. I can see an 8 or 10-year-old playing this game. It's pretty simple. So with that being said, Gravwell puts players into a position where they've been sucked into a different dimension, the 9th dimension, and in their little spaceships they're going to be trying to thrust their way toward the warp gate, but only one can make it. Now, the laws of physics are a little different in this universe. Instead of applying thrust to go forward and backward, any sort of thrust that you make in this game will either push you or pull you toward the closest object. So you sort of have to plan your moves around the other players, because the position of the players' ships will be different throughout the game. So without further ado, let's take a quick look at what comes in the box and how the game is played. Okay, now here's a very brief look at the components. Here's your box insert. As you can see, for the most part, it's just this little empty space here. There's nothing really to this box insert. It's just basically to hold the little pieces. Speaking of which, there should be 4 spaceships, but in my copy, I only received these 3. There should be a yellow one. I did submit a ticket. Hopefully, I'll get a response soon. I don't know. I guess that'll be hit or miss. Which, it's a little disconcerting, considering that the game costs $35 at Barnes & Noble, and I don't think that based on the amount of pieces that you get here, it's worth $35. But I have a written review out there, should you want to read it, and it goes into more of that in detail. But anyway, there should be 4 ships here, 1 of each color. You've got 2 gray ships. These are your derelicts, and they'll be on the board at certain points during the game, and they'll assist players in being pulled or pushed toward them, whatever the case may be. I'll explain that in a little bit. You've got a little pawn here, and that'll track the rounds. There's a little tracker on the bottom right-hand corner of the board, and as the rounds progress, this pawn will move up. You've also got these cards. Players will be using these cards in order to move around the board. You've also got these emergency stop card. Again, there are 4 of them, 1 for each player. Again, I don't have the yellow ship, but there is a yellow ship that would match this. And basically, players can play this once a round to stop their movement should they find themselves going backward instead of forward. Game setup is pretty simple. The ships start out in the singularity in the center of the board, and they'll be trying to make their way around and reach this warp gate. Again, the first person that manages to get there will win the game. You've got your pawn tracker down here. Just put the pawn on the start space. The derelicts will start off on these yellow spaces here. The deck of cards is shuffled, and each player will also receive 1 emergency stop card. Now, at the start of every round, what you'll do is you'll deal a number of these cards face down equal to the number of players times 3. So if there's 2 people playing, you'll go ahead and put 6 cards face down. After that, you'll go ahead and put a face-up card in each of those face-down cards. So each stack should have 2 cards. 1 will be face down, and 1 will be face up. In a 2-player game, I've dealt out a total of 6 different decks, so to speak. After that, the drafting process begins. For the very first turn of the game, the youngest player will get first pick. After that, whoever's in last place gets to go first, and then so on and so forth. So let's just say that blue is the youngest player. He'll go ahead and pick one of these stacks here. Let's just say he chooses this one. And then red will go ahead and choose this one, and then blue will choose this one, and so on and so forth until all of the cards are gone. Okay, now at this point, each player should have 6 cards in their hand. So there's going to be 6 movement phases here. What will happen is each player will choose a card, play it face down. Let's see if I can find a good example. Let's just do that one. We'll play that face down. And this other player here will go ahead and choose something, play it face down as well. I think we'll do carbon. Okay. So each player has chosen a card, they put it face down, and then they'll all reveal them at the same time. Okay, now these cards are resolved in a certain order, and they're resolved in alphabetical order. So the C here will go before the H. So this is to say that the red player here is up here, and he has the C, so he gets to go first. So basically, he moves towards the closest ship. In this case, the ships in the singularity do not count, but these derelicts do. So because there are 2 ships out here in this direction, he gets to go toward the warp gate. So that would be 3. So 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to resolve the H. That has a 4 value on it, so the blue player gets to move again toward the closest ship, which is red in this case. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty simple stuff. Alright, now you've probably noticed by now that there are a few different colors. This is your standard card. There's more of these than any other card in the deck. And basically this green card here will just pull you toward the closest object, as you just saw in that prior example. The purple card is a little different. It actually pushes you away from the closest person. So let's just say that cards are resolving and red had this KR card. He would actually move backward because the closest ship is blue and that pushes it away from blue. So he would actually move backwards 2 spaces. This card is a tractor beam card. Basically that pulls all ships, including derelicts, toward your ship this many number of spaces. So it's a good way of bringing players towards you without moving. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that again. Second movement phase. Each player takes a look at their hand. They have 5 cards left now, so they're going to go ahead and pick something. Let's just say that red... Let's just say that red here... Now this might be blue. I can't remember which color is which. Let's say this is blue. Blue's going to say, you know what, maybe red's not going to move, so maybe I'll go ahead and play this Xenon card. It's probably a bad move, but I'll show you why that is in a minute. And let's just say that red here decides, okay, I want to move forward, and blue is the closest. More than likely, blue's going to move forward, so that'll put me back here. So if I use a forward card, then I'll probably move forward too. If I use the repulsor, I'll probably move backward. So he's going to go ahead and choose, say... just say oxygen. Okay, and then they'll go ahead and reveal them all at the same time. Now in this case, oxygen moves before xenon, and that means that red gets to go first. So 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Blue has a xenon, which is resolved next, but it's a repulsor. He has to move 3 away from the closest ship. Thinking that red was going to stay where he was for whatever reason, he planned to push himself away from red. But that's not what happened. Red actually moved ahead of him, and now the closest ship is actually this way instead of this way. So now blue is forced to move back 3 spaces because this is a repulsor card. And again, that would end that movement phase, and players will continue doing this until they exhaust all their cards. Okay, now let's just say that the game has progressed and they're out here, whatever the case may be. Alright, there's that. And let's say that they are in the midst of resolving cards. Again, this is blue, and this is, I guess we'll do that one. Okay, now in the case that you've got an equal distance between ships like this, like red is closest to blue and to this derelict over here. So you're like, well, which way does he go? Well, you've got more derelicts in this direction, so red would actually move toward the warp gate, not away from it. So in this case, red would go ahead and resolve himself by going 1 forward. Now blue says, oh crap, I played a repulsor card, I'm going to be moving backward again. So I guess blue's just a really unlucky player. So blue's going to end up moving backward here by 2, and instead of doing that though, the blue could play this emergency stop card, flip it over. It's a one-time use per round. So you have 6 cards, and for one of those 6 cards you can play an emergency stop to basically prevent yourself from going in the wrong direction. And that's basically all there is to it. Players will continue playing throughout the rounds. This round tracker will go up as you go through these rounds. And whoever makes it to the warp gate first will win. If 6 rounds go by and no one's gotten to the warp gate, the closest player to the warp gate will end up winning the game. Alright, and there you have it, a very brief look at Gravwell. It's important to stress that I didn't cover all of the rules found in the manual, but this should just give you the general idea should you want to pick up the game for yourself. As far as what I thought, the board art and the card art is fantastic. I love the colors. Like, it makes it stand out. Like, every time I look at this game from a far distance, like, I'm drawn to it. So there's that. The pieces, on the other hand, are pretty flimsy. I think the game is overpriced for what the game currently offers as far as components go. While the game might have won some awards, I saw it won some award or something. Like, Barnes & Noble had a display case, and they had a list of games that won, like, Logic Awards or something or other. They might have been just blowing smoke out their butt. I don't know. I didn't check. But anyway, despite the fact that it may have won some award that I'm not aware of, I don't think it's worth $35. I think it's more of a $20 game, honestly. Just the number of components you get 4 ships, 2 derelicts, and a pawn, and you've got some cards. Power Grid and games like Stone Age offer way more components, and they are priced roughly around $35 to $40 price range. So what compelled the developers to charge $35 for this game is beyond me. And I'm also miffed about the fact that I'm missing a piece. Out of the few pieces that do come with this game, I'm missing one. For $35, I expected a bit more. So, yeah, if you can find this game at a cheap price, I recommend it wholeheartedly. It's a very fun game. It'll make you think. And the game is constantly changing. If you're good at counting cards and keeping track of who's picked up what, you'll have the edge, because then you can say, well, this player might have this, this, and this left. So more than likely he's going to do this on this turn. So if he does that, then I can play this card and I'll get ahead, or whatever the case may be. So it definitely helps players out in this game if they have a great memory. I don't. I suck at memory games. So I play what's great at the moment and what's best at the moment and hope for the best. And so you can do one of two things depending on what kind of player you are. So if you want to see more, you can check out my written review, www.dadsgamingaddiction.com. If you haven't already, subscribed to my YouTube channel. That way you can keep up to date on any new content I can publish. This is Vince. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.